It's my honor to introduce our main speaker today. He's taken this fight for the right causes to heart. When he began his political career, people said the first thing you do is change your name. Now the President of the United States knows his name, and we will too. We're used to challenging names in Illinois. Barack Hussein Obama got us ready for that. Our speaker, the son of first-generation immigrants, Mayor Aftab Pureval, made history in 2021 when he was elected as Cincinnati's first Asian American mayor. But he's no stranger to historic achievement. He served as the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts for 5 years, the first Democrat to hold that office in more than a century. In this role, he didn't just talk the party line, he walked it. He paid a living wage to his employees, became the first county office holder in Ohio to offer comprehensive family leave, and saved his taxpayers millions of dollars. From volunteering in the domestic violence clinic while in law school to helping the FBI prosecute crimes against children while working as a special assistant U.S. attorney, Mayor Pureval has devoted his career to helping others. And now, as mayor, he remains committed to fighting for all of America. Mayor Pureval represents a highly diverse city and some of those southernmost cities in the Midwest. He personally represents the very best of Ohio. We want to show him a welcome that is the very best of Illinois. Please welcome to the stage the mayor of Cincinnati, Aftab Pureval.
What's up, Democrats? Let's get loud. Let's go, baby. Thank you all so much for having me. What an incredible honor to be given this opportunity to address you all. Thank you so much to Senator Durbin. Let's get it going for him. Senator Duckworth, Governor Pritzker. Thank you to all the federal, statewide, and especially local elected officials. Get loud for your locals, people. Shout out to my beloved mayors. Thank you to President Gately, to Executive Director Dan Kovatz. Thank you to Mike Ingram and to Sean Williams for that incredible performance of our national anthem. The pipes on those two, am I right? That was incredible. To our hosts, thank you so much for creating this opportunity for me. I actually was at the Olympics for the last couple of weeks. I landed back in Cincinnati late last night, jumped into my car to drive here today because this event was that important, and I forgot to bring a button-down shirt. This is true. I probably shouldn't be telling you this. And my friend who I just met here today, who's been helping me, Dana Stoger, is the kind of guy to give you the shirt off his back. Shout out to Dana. This is his shirt. Thank God he's a big Midwesterner, because at 6'3", I'm sneaky tall, particularly for an Asian. Thank you to all the staff here at the center. Let's give them a round of applause for making this event possible. Congrats to Pam Davidson and Doug House for their awards and their incredible speeches. And Doug, thanks for the shout out and the comp to Mayor Pete. I'm going to try and lower that bar a little bit. In fact, I don't need help. Rich Miller's Capital Facts, when he heard that I was the keynote, quote, said, "I've never heard of him, I guess we'll see." So between Mayor Pete and I've never heard of him, I hope I'm in that sweet spot. But finally, to all of you county chairs, the people in here who are the most important, thank you. Genuinely, genuinely. Your job is really, really hard. Some people would say that your job sucks. I mean, everybody is always mad at you. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar. My name isn't listed high enough on the invite list. My donor didn't give to this event but needs a VIP ticket. Why didn't you endorse me? Why aren't we targeting my neighborhood? Why are you too liberal? Why are you too conservative? Why does our messaging not work? And why aren't you listening to me? Truly, your job is incredibly difficult, but thank God you do it. You are the lifeblood of our party in Illinois and across this country. Most of you don't get paid. Most of you work long, thankless hours, but every single one of you is on the front lines in the fight to save our democracy. You're not on the sidelines Monday morning quarterbacking. As Teddy Roosevelt said, you're in the arena. Your face is marred by dust and sweat and blood. You strive valiantly. It's because of you that we as a country struggle and progress. You are patriots. And it's one of the true great honors of my short career to be given the opportunity to address you. Thank you so much. Well, just like Rich Miller, you might be wondering, who is this guy? Well, the very fact that I'm standing here is improbable. Frankly, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm the son of a refugee. My mother was born in Tibet, and she was forced to flee her home when the communists took over. So my parents, my grandparents and my mother picked up, made their way through the Himalayas, through Nepal, and into India, where she grew up in a refugee camp in southern India. Against all odds, she got an education. She made it to college, where she met my father, who's from Punjab, India. Any Punjabis in the house, by the way? All right, there we go. Any Tibetans? The search continues. I think there's like 3 in Ohio. Don't worry about it. Anyway, against all odds, she made it to college in New Delhi, India, where she met my father. The young couple got married, and they decided to come to the New World. They decided to come to the United States of America. And so my father, who was a little bit crazy, as Punjabis sometimes are, looked at a map of our great country, and from sea to shining sea, from New York to California, this man literally could have gone anywhere. And he chose Beaver Creek, Ohio. That's right, thank God he did. I'm half Indian, half Tibetan. I'm 6'3", but I'm all Ohio, baby. I was born in 1982, as Senator Durbin actually reminded me. That was the first year he was elected into Congress, so a solid year. And look, I love all of my citizens. I love all Americans, but Midwest Asians are where it's at. Make some noise if you're a Midwest Asian. There is something special about us. There is something a little bit off. We're unique. Again, could have gone anywhere, and we decided to go to Illinois. We decided to go to Minnesota, to Michigan, to Wisconsin, and thank God we did, because that is the path to victory for Vice President Harris. The whole damn family is lactose intolerant. Let's go to the cheese capital of the world. That's the Midwest Asians that I'm talking about. And shout out to history makers here in this state, first Indian American state Senator Ram Villavalam. Let's give him a round of applause. I got into politics relatively recently. I grew up in Beaver Creek, Ohio, went to public schools, and my first job in legal career was I was an antitrust litigator in Washington, D.C. for 4 years. I then moved back home to Cincinnati to serve as a federal prosecutor in President Obama's Department of Justice as a special assistant United States attorney. Thank you. Thank you very much. Most recently, I was the global brand attorney for Oil of Olay, P&G's skincare company, which made me a beauty attorney, which is ridiculous. And then in 2016, I decided to run for office. Now, I didn't decide to run for Congress or for mayor. I decided to run for the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts. And back in 2015, 2016, when I would tell people this, they would say, "What is wrong with you? Are you crazy? You're going to run for an office that no one has ever heard of or cares about against a 2-term Republican that can't be beaten in conservative Hamilton County? Oh, by the way, you're a brown dude named Aftab. That is not a strong ballot name in Cincinnati. And to do all this, you have to leave your job at P&G. What is wrong with you?" And that was just my mom. She's still hoping I make it to med school. Brown people in the room know what I'm talking about. Sanjay Gupta really screwed us. And at the time, as Senator Durbin mentioned, Democrats would tell me that I had to change my name to Al or to Adam or some other anglicized pronunciation. And look, I know that sounds racist and offensive, but they were just trying to be helpful. If you see AFTAB on a yard sign, it doesn't immediately occur to you that that's a human being. It could be a prescription or a standardized test or an insurance company. The amount of times I've been quacked at, Aflac, is just extraordinary. But the coda on that story is I ran for clerk of courts, first Democrat in 100 years to hold that position, thank you. And now Democrats in Hamilton County come to me and say, Mayor, how am I going to win? I'm just a white guy named John. How am I going to stand out from the crowd? In 2021, I then ran for mayor and became the first Asian American mayor in Cincinnati's history, one of the first in the entire Midwest. Cincinnati did that. I am living proof that Asians can run and win anywhere across this country, and I'm so proud of our community. But before we talk about making history, I want to first thank President Joe Biden. A man who has seen personal tragedy after personal tragedy. Any one of us would have curled up into a ball and sat in the corner in the face of losing our family. But Joe Biden decided to serve. He served this country with honor and dignity in his entire adult career. Because of the ARP, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, and the CHIPS Act, my city, Cincinnati, was not just saved during and after the pandemic, but is now set up to thrive. We were facing massive cuts to our public safety professionals until he passed ARP, which enabled mayors and law enforcement to continue to provide the safety that we all take for granted. It's President Biden and Democratic mayors who actually fund the police. He saved our democracy, and in one of his final acts, he took an extraordinary measure of patriotism and an ordinary measure for Joe Biden. He will go down as one of the greatest presidents in our country's history, and we must all thank him for his service. Speaking of presidents, I know in my personal story I talked about being the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts, and you might be thinking, big deal, Clerk of Courts. But before you look down your nose on it, our 9th president, William Henry Harrison, before he could be sworn in to the Oval Office, had to step down, and this is true, as the Hamilton County Clerk of Courts. That's right. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a great legacy. In the campaign, he was attacked for being too old and too dumb to be president. And so to show his haters, he decided to give a very long, very erudite inaugural address in January without a top coat. And 2 weeks later, he died of pneumonia. So you guys get Lincoln and I get William Henry Harrison. That's how it works. But getting back to President Biden made this extraordinary sacrifice, and he didn't just do that. He then passed the torch to our vice president. This moment that he helped create, we have the opportunity, the responsibility of electing the first female, the first black female, and the first Indian American female in our country's history. And this moment didn't just happen. It was made to happen. It was made to happen by the incredible black men and women of the past, and it was made to happen because of the leadership of AANHPI activists, leaders like Senator Daniel Inouye, Senator Hiram Fong, Secretary Norm Mineta, Congressman Dalip Singh Sand, Senator Tammy Duckworth, And, and Patsy Mink, the first woman of color elected to Congress in 1964. I don't know if they could have imagined a moment that we are living in right now, a moment that they helped create. I can't imagine the hate and oppression that they had to face on a daily basis in the 50s and 60s and 70s, but I know because of their work, we have this responsibility. And I know because of their work, because of the path that they blazed, they're smiling down on us now. History is not just something we make together, but also something we learn from. And this moment has echoes from our past. During the height of the hostage situation, President Carter gave a national address, and his words are prescient. We must face the truth, and then we can change our course. We simply must have faith in each other, faith in our ability to govern ourselves, and faith in the future of this nation. Restoring that faith and that confidence in America is now the most important task that we face. It is a true challenge of this generation of Americans. We've got to stop crying and start sweating. We've got to stop talking and start walking, stop cursing and start praying. The strength we need will not come from the White House, but from every house in America. Ladies and gentlemen, past is prologue. President Carter is talking about confidence and the belief in ourselves. It's what makes us uniquely American. I saw it on full display at the Olympics. By the way, as an aside, I love the Olympics, particularly as an American. I mean, Team USA, we are the Patriots, Duke, the Jordan Bulls, the Yankees, and Alabama all wrapped up into one world-dominating team, and everybody else knows it. Tell these Republicans who demonize immigrants and diversity, equity, and inclusion to watch the Olympics. They will see women and black and brown athletes absolutely crushing it. In fact, a majority of our medals were won by women. Diversity in our country isn't our weakness, it is our strength lighting the way. And look, we're not perfect. We have made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes as a country. But as Olympian Kevin Durant said recently, a lot of bullcrap happens in our country, but a lot of great things happen too. To achieve those great things is an unshakable faith and confidence that we will be victorious, not because of any one of us, but because of all of us together. And what makes us strong isn't going backwards, but going forwards. We will not go back. In my brief time in politics, two questions really define our party. And it's what do you stand for and who do you stand for? In this America where gun violence is raging, where we have to now teach our children how to shelter in place with an active shooter, how we have to be scared in malls and in movie theaters and on our street corners. What do you stand for and who do you stand for? In this America where Donald Trump wants to put children in cages and deport millions of Americans from the country that they have only ever known, what do you stand for and who do you stand for? In this America where Donald Trump negates the idea of climate change as the existential threat facing not just us but the entire world, what do you stand for and who do you stand for? And in this America, in the state of Ohio, where after Dobbs fell and state legislatures passed a draconian 6-week heartbeat bill ban, a 10-year-old was raped, and she was forced to travel to Indiana to get the health care that she needed, because in Ohio, our state leaders decided it was more important for her to carry her rapist baby to birth. And when Republicans were told about this story, they traumatized her again by denying her very existence. So I'll ask again, what do you stand for? And who do you stand for? And if you get disillusioned, just remember that we as Americans can do hard things. That we are the light that has lit the world for the last 250 years. And when the stuff hits the fan, the world calls the Americans. I had the opportunity in France to visit Omaha Beach with my family. And when you stand on that cold, windswept beach, the sacrifice that the greatest generation made to liberate Europe and preserve our democracy is extraordinary. I'm not comparing MAGA Republicans to Hitler Germany, and I'm not asking you to storm a beach or climb a cliff in a hail of machine gun fire. But I am reminding you that you can. I am reminding you that we are Americans and that we can do anything. And it's important because the stakes are sky high. Under President Harris, we can pass common sense gun laws and get machines of war off of our streets. We can fight back against the existential threat of climate change. We can create an economy that prioritizes organized labor and the middle class, and we can protect abortion rights from sea to shining sea. And it will be hard. They're already attacking her with racist tropes, questioning her citizenship, questioning her blackness, childishly and offensively mispronouncing her name. But remember, the first one through the door always gets bloody. And it's on every single one of us to have her back, to make the phone calls, to knock on the doors, and to turn every single vote out to make history together. I want to close by talking to our young and diverse folks in the room. The only reason I'm in politics is because of President Obama. Not only is he our first black president, but I view him as our first president with an ethnic name. He convinced me that no matter what your name is or where you're from, if you are committed to serving, you too can raise your hand and step into the arena. And in his final interview in the Oval Office, he was asked, "What do you want your legacy to be?" And he didn't talk about Obamacare. He didn't talk about the Iran nuclear deal. He didn't talk about the Paris Climate Accord. He talked about inspiring a new generation of leaders to step up and to lead. He called it a cleansing wave washing over the country. You and I are part of that legacy. It's on us to preserve that dream. And look, it will be hard. It will be hard. There will be people who say you are too brown, you are too black, you are too female, you are too young. There are people who say that this country is not ready to elect a black Indian female president. And they're wrong. I believe in this country. I believe in its promise. I believe in the future. And I believe in that because of my own story. In one generation, my family went from being refugees to now the mayor of a major American city. My mom was basically born in a tent on the side of a mountain, and now I'm the mayor. And Democrats, that story only happens in this country. It's on us to preserve that dream for the next generation. Let's go win this thing. Thank you so much for having me. What an honor.